Hello and welcome. Today's book reviews are going to be on Lazarus and Pagan. Those are going to be books 7 and 8 in the Henchmen MC series by Jessica Gadziala. For any of you guys who have not started this series at the beginning, that's going to be Rain, and you do have to read this series in order. It makes a difference. I've done a book review on Rain. It's actually Rain and Cash, and it's in the Jessica Gadziala playlist, so you probably want to go check that out. For everyone else, Lazarus' book was probably one of the only ones that took me a little while to get into it and to like it. That's mainly because of my personality. So let me explain why it took me a little bit. When the book starts, it goes through Lazarus and him withdrawing from drugs and alcohol. We know he's clean because of Rennie's book. And quite frankly, I've never read a book that goes through withdrawal so vividly. I mean, Jessica does an incredible job with it. If anyone is thinking about doing drugs, have them read that book because it'll shock them away from them. Anyways, one night as Lazarus is walking back to the compound, he goes on these long walks. It's kind of a thing he does to clear his mind now that he's sober. And he comes across a woman who's ODing. He decides he's going to save her life. He forces her to throw up and takes her back to his apartment. And that's where we meet Bethany. And that was where I was a little conflicted because I felt like Laz took it upon himself to decide she was going to get cleaned up and he was going to force her to go through withdrawal, and that way she didn't have to go through everything that he went through, kind of projecting his own issues on her. And at the time, I don't know anything about Bethany, and I was really, really afraid that something had happened to her and she was trying to kill herself. And so, especially because she seemed shocked or confused about surviving the OD, and so it scared me. I thought maybe something really horrible happened to her. And not that I'd want her to die anyways, but at the beginning I thought Laz was taking a lot of her choices away from her and forcing his beliefs on her. So when Bethany wakes up and you really get to understand she wasn't trying to die. She doesn't want to die. And she can't believe that she became this type of drug addict. But more importantly, when you hear her story as to how she became a drug addict, it really makes you fall in love with Laz and Bethany and their story. The way that Bethany becomes a drug addict really opened my eyes. And as weird as it sounds, it's because I'd never heard of pill mills before. And I know that that's very naive of me. It's possible that pill mills are just something that happens in the series, but I heavily believe that if I look it up, those are probably a very real thing. That's just horrifying. But anyways, it's not Jessica's fault that I live in my own little peaceful world where pill mills don't exist. From Lazarus, we go to Pagan, and honestly, I didn't expect to like Pagan because he seemed like such a shallow character. He likes to have sex and he likes to fight. He does both of those things, he's happy. And I should have known that Jessica was going to go really deep with him, and we're going to know his mom, his dad, his grandparents, how he grew up, why he is the way he is, because that's what Jessica does. She takes people who seemingly are shallow characters and gives them this really in-depth story. In the book, Pagan will meet Kennedy. Kennedy owns a beauty salon, and I really appreciate that from this point on, occasionally some of the females will go into the beauty salon to get their hair done, so Kennedy will still be parts of the story. More than that, I liked that this book, the problems that they faced weren't really henchman-related problems. There are a couple of different issues. Pagan's going to be dealing a lot with his past, and I don't want to spoil that at all because that's a Jessica secret. But with Kennedy, she had her identity stolen, and I thought that they were going to make it where one of the organized crime families were the people that stole her identity, and now the henchmen have to get involved. And that's not the case. Her identity was stolen. It happens, and now she's trying to dig herself out of that situation. Another thing that I absolutely loved about this book, and I'm not sure that I was supposed to love it as much as I did, was this guy that works with Kennedy. He's gay, and Jessica writes it so that the henchmen actually treat him with more respect than some other people. And at one point in the book, Kennedy's actually even thinking about the fact that Pagan always treats him with respect and doesn't try to belittle him. And there's this guy, Ethan, who makes like little girly names for him and stuff like that. And it really drives her crazy. I liked that even though Pagan's a biker and beats people, doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't know how to treat everyone with respect. Just made me like him a little bit more. The epilogue of Pagan will be one of the most precious things you've read your entire life. Pagan's son Nero is going to be protecting Andy, and that's going to be Reeves' daughter in this book when they're, I think, 10 years old, somewhere around there. I don't know if it's a 10-year epilogue or if it was when they were 10 years old because I read it a couple of days ago. But then I read Reeve just the other day, and they're going to have a 20-year epilogue, and it's going to include Nero and Andy. I actually tweeted Jessica and asked if Nero was going to get his own book, and she said yes. So I don't know how many years I'm going to have to wait, but oh my heavens, she already has me looking forward to an entire new series. I think she said it was going to be the Henchmen Legacy series or something like that. So look forward to that. Next week's book reviews will be on Cyrus and Reeves. In Cyrus's book, he actually falls for a girl named Reese, who's a librarian and loves books. So we all can connect to that. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave those down below. If you like this book review, go ahead and like it. And if you want my reviews every week, subscribe. I will see you all again soon.